president, college preaching, congregational development, and various educational projects offline and online. So for your online courses, you can check out thesattva-way.com. We will put that in the link so everybody knows it. And he's also known for his recordings and live kirtans, most notably, I would say, for his Brahma Samhita, which is very, very popular. And also, he's known for his workshops, which include the topics of forgiveness, marriage, humility, and yes, you've guessed it, Japa. So without further ado, let's welcome His Grace Mahatma Prabhu.
Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vicharini Nirvisesa Sanyavadi Paschatya. Thank you for inviting me, and I wanted to thank you for organizing this during the pandemic. You've done a good job in figuring out how we're going to do this, and so I'm very happy and honored to be here. And the topic today is the meaning of the holy name. And the reason I chose this topic is because sometimes I see that when we chant, we can go into a certain space or a certain consciousness in which we're not really conscious of what we're doing. We're kind of, we could say, excuse me for a second, we could say unconscious chanting. We're not, we're not connected with the meaning. And there is sometimes perhaps a misunderstanding that, well, the Maha Mantra is the Maha Mantra, so it's always pure and it's always powerful, and however you chant it, it's Krishna's there. Prabhupada said he's dancing on your tongue. I was thinking yesterday, sometimes Maya is dancing on our tongue, and we don't realize it. If we're committing offenses to the holy name, or if the meaning that we have or the emotion that we have in chanting is something different than Krishna, I'm your servant, then instead of Krishna on the tongue, it might be Maya on the tongue. And I'll give an example. There's a story that some professional kirtan group was chanting in Mayapur. And when Prabhupada heard them chanting, because they're professionals, kirtan is what they do for a living. It's how they make money. So because they're professionals, Prabhupada said they're not chanting Hare Krishna. Even though they were chanting Hare Krishna, he said they're not chanting Hare Krishna, which is kind of interesting. So you hear the Maha Mantra coming out of their mouth, but you don't, but Prabhupada's saying they're not chanting Hare Krishna. So what are they chanting? Prabhupada said they're chanting money, money, money. So that's an indication that even though the Maha Mantra is coming out of our mouth, we could be thinking of something else. And therefore, the Maha Mantra has a different meaning. So don't assume that when you're chanting Hare Krishna, it means Krishna, please engage me in your service. It could mean so many things according to what you're chanting. Now, another thing Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, which is quite interesting. He said, he described the holy name kind of like a deity installation, where you go to Jaipur, you have the deities carved, you get the deities, and now they're sitting in your closet, you're preparing the temple, the altar and everything, and at some point you install them, right? So before they're installed, what are they? Basically they're marble deities, but we don't worship them. We say, no, Krishna's not there. Then the pure devotee comes, he asks Krishna to descend, the samskars are done, the yajna is done, Krishna descends, and now he's worshipped. The Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said the holy name is a little bit like this. And he said something which seems a little bit different from what Prabhupada said, so we have to describe this a little bit to get a clear understanding. He said, Krishna descends. Krishna is not present in offensive chanting. So you're chanting, and we say, oh, Krishna's dancing on my tongue, he's present. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta says, no, he's not present. In offensive chanting, Krishna is not present. He's present. He descends into the holy name when a devotee chants in the mood and the mentality that I am servant, that I want service, I want to become a pure devotee. This is what predominates my consciousness. This is what chanting means to me. So Krishna descends into his holy name. That sounds like the deity is being installed. The Nama Rupa is being installed when the devotee is in the mood of service. If the devotee is in the mood of Krishna, give me this, give me that, better job, better grades, better health, more money, etc., Krishna is not present in that name. He's present in the name, Krishna, let me be your servant. Let me serve you. So that's it. Excuse me. That's a very important point to understand, that not all chanting is equal. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said when we chant, we should meditate on the meaning of the holy name. So we shouldn't just chant mindlessly. There should be an emotion, a connection with what the holy name means. So what does the holy name mean? What were we, Prabhupada has given us this meaning, Krishna, please engage me in your service. And I want to open that up a little bit. This is I don't know if this mic, I don't know if this thing turns up. Is that any better or worse?
No, we can hear perfectly. It seems clear on my side. I don't think there's a problem. Yeah.
Jagannath, turn up your volume on your phone. So, I think a lot of us take for granted when Prabhupada says, Krishna, please engage me in your service. It's a very simple definition, a very simple meaning, but it's actually much broader and much deeper than it appears on the surface. So Prabhupada explained this in a lecture, and I want to explain what he explained, and then I want to elaborate on it, because this is the main meaning Prabhupada has given us, and the Acharyas have given us many meanings. And the holy name, because it's Krishna and it's vast, can be approached in many ways and experienced in many ways, and the meanings are varied. But I would like for now to focus on this meaning. So Prabhupada explained there's a deep emotion behind this meaning, and the emotion is Krishna. For so many lifetimes, I've avoided you, I've turned my back on you, I've neglected you, I've been envious of you, I've taken from you, and now I've come, by the grace of Srila Prabhupada, I've come to realize in this life I am a servant, but my conditioned nature is such that I don't want to serve. I still want to imitate you. I still want to enjoy. And so the prayer of the devotee when he's chanting or when she is chanting is, Krishna, please awaken within me the desire to serve. Awaken within me the tendency for service. Awaken within me or purify within me that conditioned tendency to turn that eternally conditioned tendency to turn my back on you. That eternally conditioned tendency to not want to serve but be served. That eternally conditioned tendency to not want to make you the enjoyer but enjoy. And it's interesting also, because when we say, Krishna, please engage me in your service, sometimes we'll chant to enjoy chanting. We want to be the enjoyer of the Hare Krishna mantra. Oh, it makes me feel peaceful. I chant and I feel good. And I want to chant to feel peaceful. No, Krishna is the enjoyer. We're not the enjoyer of the holy name. We're the servant of the holy name. And ultimate enjoyment will come when we're fully merged in that service mentality. So we're chanting with a deep prayer to become purified. Krishna's servant. I want to be a servant. What kind of servant do I want to be? Sometimes I joke with devotees. I say, I don't chant. I don't want to chant my rounds today. Why? Why don't you want to chant? I say, I have too much service. If I chant, Krishna will give me more service. So sometimes devotees feel that way. I'm chanting for service. I have too much service. No, Krishna, please give me more service. No, Hare Krishna, give me less service. I have too much. No, that's not exactly what it means. It's the mentality. Krishna, within me, purify me of this mentality that I'm the enjoyer. Krishna, please purify me of this mentality that I'm the controller. Krishna, purify me of this mentality that I can enjoy separate from you. Krishna, root out that every ounce of anything which is contrary to pure devotional service. That is supposed to be the mood of the devotee when we're chanting. And simultaneously, as I was saying before, the mood of the devotee when he chants is, Krishna, I want to be pure, but I have a conditioned nature which is pulling me away from that. And this conditioned nature is causing me to continually think that I can enjoy separately from you. Continually think that there's some happiness in this world that can come from anything but pure bhakti. To continually think that there are things in this world which are mine. To continually think that I need to expand my material facility. To be envious of this devotee, to be envious of this person, to be jealous, to be lusty, to be greedy. We're still battling these things. So the prayer, Krishna, please engage me in your service, also contains this mood. Please do not allow me to engage in the service of Maya. For so many lifetimes I've served Maya. She's beaten me. She's destroyed me. But still, due to my conditioning and my foolishness, there's this tendency to still want to engage in her service. So the prayer to be engaged in service is also the prayer to not be engaged in Maya's service, to not succumb to those influences when Maya speaks to us. Why are you chanting? Why are you serving? You should be enjoying. This will not make you happy. That tendency of Maya speaking to us, when we're chanting, we're praying, Krishna, please give me the strength to not listen. Give me the strength to always be facing you, not facing Maya. So all of us are conditioned. All of us have obstacles on the path. And so part of chanting, please engage me in your service, is a prayer also to overcome those obstacles. And I think a lot of us, when we're chanting, disassociate from these emotions, disassociate from this meaning, and become preoccupied with just 1,728 mantras. And if I can chant 1,728 mantras, no matter how I chant them, no matter how distracted I am, no matter how I mumble them out of my mouth, no matter what else is going on around me that's distracting me, I think if I chant 1,728 mantras, that's 16 rounds, I'm good, I've done it, I've followed my guru. And we shouldn't think that way. Because when Prabhupada gave us the Hare Krishna mantra, and when Prabhupada asked us to chant 16 rounds, he's asking us to chant 16 rounds while we're experiencing and meditating upon and connected to this meaning, Krishna, please engage me in your service. Not just a blank, neutral nothingness, just get the Maha Mantra done. That is not the goal. The goal is not 16 or 32 or 64 rounds chanted in that way. The goal is connection. Service. When the service mood descends in the consciousness of the devotee, then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta says, then that's the real name. Without that service mood, without that prayer, without that connection, it's not the real name. It sounds like it. So now, I want to ask you a question. What is in your consciousness when you're chanting? What is in your heart when you're chanting? What is your, we could say, what is the meaning you're giving at that time? And you might say, but the holy name already has a meaning. Yes, it does. But what meaning are you giving? Are you connected with that meaning? Or are you disconnected from that meaning? Are you giving it a meaning that it doesn't mean, that is not the real meaning of the holy name? So I think this is an important distinction. Now think about when you chant japa, what's going on in your heart? What is your emotion? What is your aspiration? Are you just thinking, well, my Guru Maharaj wants me to chant, or Prabhupada wants me to chant, so this is why I'm doing it? Okay, that's good. It's duty. But is there anything beyond that? Is it just, I need to finish these rounds. This is part of the process of bhakti. I did my Tulsi Puja, I did my Artik, now I do my 4 rounds. Is that how you're thinking? Because if you are, you're not really chanting properly. It's not just another process to do as part of sadhana, the processes of sadhana bhakti. Japa is a very deep prayer. And I want to read some of the meanings that the acharyas have given to the holy name, because by reading them, you will be able to understand that the meanings are all manifestations of the devotee's emotional prayers. So another meaning that Prabhupada has given to the holy name is Krishna, please accept me. And this meaning is full of emotion because Prabhupada said, we don't deserve to ask Krishna to accept us. That's very, very heavy. We don't deserve to ask Krishna to accept us because we turned our back on him. Prabhupada said, you have no right to ask Krishna to accept you. That's a very heavy thing. And here, the Maha Mantra means, Krishna, please accept me. Why? Because even though we have no right, still within our heart, we're begging Krishna, please accept me. And I know I have no right, but I know you're merciful. I have no right to be accepted, but I know you're merciful. So therefore I'm asking for your acceptance. So when a devotee is connected with this meaning and they're chanting, the mood is, I've turned my back for so many lifetimes. I've committed so many sins. I've tried to be Krishna. In so many lifetimes, I've separated myself from him. And now, by the grace of Prabhupada in this lifetime, I realize I'm eternal servant of Krishna. I realize how I've turned my back against him. And some little seed of desire is there for reconnection. And Krishna, I'm approaching you with a straw in my mouth and utmost humility, knowing that I'm unqualified, but begging, please accept me. I want to be accepted in this relationship. I know I'm not qualified, but you're my life and soul. This is the most important thing to me. Could you imagine chanting 16 rounds like that? Basically almost crying, Krishna, I have no qualification, but this relationship is so important to me. I'm begging you, accept me. Would that be amazing? Amazing japa if we chanted that way? And compare the depth, the emotion of that, and the experience that you could get from that with some of the ways we chant normally, which is just trying to get our rounds done. Okay, I have so many rounds. Let's knock them off. Like you have things you knock off on your to-do list. Okay, I have to do this and that. Let's knock off I have to knock off my rounds. Don't ever say that, because that's only reinforcing this mood, this mentality. Oh, I have rounds to do. I've got to get them done. No, this is where we're deeply connecting with Krishna. This is where so much emotion comes. So we're going to, somebody said something? So we're gonna go over some other meetings and discuss them. And then we're going to do a little japa. Maybe we'll chant one round together and we'll try to we'll try to get into this mood, and then we'll take some time for discussion and questions. Okay, so another meaning that Prabhupada gave was, oh my friend, oh my friend. So Krishna is the dearest friend. Why is he the dearest friend? Oh, there's so many reasons he's the dearest friend. He's the only one who can save us. He's the only one who loves us. He's the one who's been with us since we decided to come here in this world. Krishna accompanied us as the Paramatma. He hears everything. He knows everything. He's our well-wisher. He's the fulfiller of all the desires. Who could be a better friend than Krishna? And the devotee's praying, oh my friend, I want to reciprocate. Krishna, you've given me so much, I want to reciprocate, please. And I just want to appreciate that you are so close to me. As Prabhupada said, closer than your jugular. Krishna is closer than your jugular vein. He's the closest thing to you. So I'm meditating on that. I'm experiencing that. And then the other thing that's that comes with a meditation like this, and it could come with the other meanings as well, is that I am now trying to develop a relationship with Krishna, and from his side the relationship is perfect, but from my side it's imperfect. So when I say Krishna, oh my friend, Krishna is the best friend, but what kind of friend am I to Krishna? His friendship is perfect. His love is perfect. But my love and friendship is not perfect. And that's what I'm working on. So I know it can make you feel kind of perhaps guilty or useless or whatever, but those emotions can empower your japa. So guilt and feeling useless and so forth can be very toxic, but it can also be very empowering. Krishna, you are the perfect friend. I am not. I want to be. Hare Krishna, please, please help me appreciate more and more this friendship, this love you give, and please help me become the friend you are to me in the same way. So this is what's going on. It's kind of like you could call Japa kind of like a relational therapy between you and God. It's like we're in therapy because he's doing everything right and we're doing everything wrong, and we want to do everything right, and we're working on correcting ourselves, right? But from his point of view, there's no correction on his side. The correction is totally on our side. So as we're chanting, we're praying, Krishna, please help me. There's a prayer here, one of the meanings that unfortunately I didn't note which acharya has given this meaning. But here's a similar meaning. Krishna, please make me worthy to engage in your service, or please make me qualified to engage in your service. So we could also say, Krishna, please make me qualified to be in this relationship that you're offering me. Please make me qualified to love you because I know that's what you want and I'm not loving you. And I know you want my love, and I'm begging you, please help me become qualified to give that love. Help me become qualified to understand what that love is. Help me become qualified in my consciousness to develop the right attitudes which are necessary to develop that love. All of this is contained within all of these prayers we've been reading. Let me read some more. This next one is beautiful. I love it. Well, I'll read the next two, the next three, because they're all similar. Krishna, please capture my heart and deliver me from the bondage to this material world. Krishna, please pull my heart to you. Krishna, please steal my heart with your sweetness. So imagine this meditation while you're chanting. This great acharya is meditating when he's chanting, Krishna, please pull my heart to you, which my heart is so far. My heart is so connected with so many things other than you. Hare Krishna, please pull my heart so it can be one. Your desire can become my desire. Your pleasure can become my pleasure. Your displeasure can be my displeasure. Your wants become my wants. Please pull my heart to you. Please, please pull my heart away from everything that is not you. It's a beautiful prayer. Could you imagine chanting 16 rounds, just completely absorbed in this meditation? Krishna, pull my heart to you. My heart is so far. Bring me together. Bring our hearts together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. What a beautiful prayer. Capture my heart. Steal my heart away from everything else. And the last one we read, steal my heart. Capture my heart. Steal my heart. How? How? With your sweetness. Allow me to become attracted to your sweetness, to your beauty. So I think you could kind of understand that in all these meditations, there's a similar mood, which is a prayer to be purified, to be attracted, to turn our back on Maya, to better our bhakti, better our consciousness. All these things are there contained. So what I wanted to hopefully inject within today's session is this idea that japa is not something you just get done. It's not something you knock off on your list. It's not time spent that's obligatory and you just do it because you have to. But japa is a relationship in which you're expressing to Krishna your deepest desires for purity, and you're opening up to Krishna what is going on with your anarthas and how these anarthas are preventing you from coming closer and how much you want to overcome them. And when you chant this way, it becomes a very sweet exchange. And you begin to realize that these 2 hours that I chant every day are the times where I open up my heart totally to Krishna. And it becomes such an important part of my day to be able to open up like this and pray to help me overcome the particular obstacles that I'm dealing with that day or that week or that month or this year. And to pray to be a better devotee, because then that mood, it vibrates throughout your life now. That my mood is, I'm a servant, I want to be a better servant, I want to overcome my anarthas. So that mood that you're creating during japa becomes your whole mood in life. It becomes your consciousness. And if your consciousness during japa is just, we just have to get this done, it doesn't have the same benefit. It doesn't create the same mood in your life. And in fact, it can, and I've seen this for some devotees, it can create this mood that japa, I just do it, I don't like it, it's just something I have to do. And to say that I have to do it is like saying I have to spend time with Krishna. That's offensive. What if you heard a devotee tell you, I'm doing deity worship, I don't really want to do it, but I have to go on the altar and do it? You'd probably feel like there's something wrong with that. That's not the right mood. But how many times have you heard devotees say, I have to chant my rounds, and you don't think anything? Think, yeah, you have to chant your rounds. It's what you have to do. It's the same thing. This is not a chore. This is not meant to be a duty. This is meant to be a connection, a sweet connection of prayer, of opening up, of connecting deeply with the frequency, the vibration, the depth of the profundity. That's the depth of and the profundity of the relationship you have with Krishna and what the holy name does to connect you with that relationship. And then that becomes your meaning of the holy name, and that becomes your experience of the holy name, and it's a totally different experience. So what I was thinking, I think we have 45 more minutes. Is that correct? We're going to end 47 more minutes?
That's absolutely correct.
Okay, so what I'm thinking we can do now is engage in we'll chant around, and we will chant around in the mood of entering the meaning of the holy name. And so we've discussed some meanings here. And one thing I want to make clear is that the meanings are not limited to what I've read, because for you, in the particular situation you are in, at any particular time in your life, the holy name may mean something to you specifically. Something that you're dealing with, that you may need empowerment to do, or some situation where you're lacking faith and you may need more faith. Some situation where you're feeling there's a particular obstacle on the path and you need strength to overcome it. And so the holy name can mean that for you. Like when Prabhupada came to America, he was crying when he was chanting Japa. And when asked why you're crying, he said, my spiritual master has given me a service that I'm unqualified to do. And I'm just crying, begging for the empowerment. So the holy name is your aid, it's your friend, it's your connection. And whatever it is you want to ask, you can ask. And if right now you're very clear that I need help in a certain way, then I would suggest during this japa, that becomes your prayer, that becomes your mood. If there's nothing that comes to your mind exactly, then I think we can go back to the first one. Krishna, please engage me in your service. Let me develop this mood of servant. Please help me overcome my conditioned nature, that nature that's pulling me away from you. Please forgive me for all the bad rounds I've ever chanted, for all the aparads I've ever made. Please forgive me for those countless lifetimes where I've turned my back on you. This general mood you can adopt. Now, the one thing that we shouldn't do, and the one mistake that devotees often make, is that they actually lose this mood when they're chanting because they're trying to remember what the mood is and what they're thinking. And that's not the way to do it. This mood with which you're chanting should be real for you. It should be something that before you begin chanting, you can just feel it, so you don't have to think about it. This is how I feel. I feel separated from Krishna. I feel that I want to be a pure devotee. You might say, what if I don't feel like that way? Well, then pray to feel that way. Krishna, there's something wrong with me. I don't feel that way. I want to feel that way. But we should all feel, and I think we all feel a little bit that way. So the idea of this is not that you have to remind yourself how do you feel. You have to think, oh, I'm supposed to chant this way. It should be something that's real for you, that I am feeling the pulling of Maya. I am feeling the desire to connect with Krishna deeply. I am feeling some desire to become a pure devotee, to become purified. So these things should be just as you naturally feel. They should be manifest in your prayer, because the Maha Mantra is a prayer, and it shouldn't be a mental process that I have to think, what am I feeling, or how am I supposed to feel? That's not what we're talking about. You should be connecting with the real feelings that you have. These are your real feelings. Connect with your real feelings. If Krishna were in front of you, what would you say? What would you ask him if Krishna? Now Krishna is coming in front of you in the holy name. Express that emotion, that prayer. What is it, Krishna, that I want to ask you? You know, one time Prabhupada said, Krishna, when you're chanting, Krishna's coming in front of you and he's asking you, what do you want? Because you're calling him. So now we're calling Krishna, so we express our desire through the holy name. So let's try that. And if you've never chanted this way, again, try to make this real, something that you feel deeply in your own spiritual life that you want, not something you have to think and remind yourself, or what did Mahaprabhu say that I'm supposed to think? No, not like that. But what do you actually feel? And what would you ask Krishna if Krishna's now coming to you? You're saying, Hare Krishna, Radha and Krishna are coming. They're saying, yes, what do you want? How can I help you? You're expressing that. And that becomes our connection, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, chant while meditating on the meaning of the holy name, which really means chant while feeling that. So we'll chant about a round, and I will stop you after one round, and then we'll discuss a little bit about this, and then we'll have some questions. Okay. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhupada Shuddhaita Gadadhar Shri Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. So now what I'd like to do is ask some of you to share. Now, the way we'll do this, I'll have to ask the moderator if you can, like, when people raise their hand, if you could call on them and they can unmute themselves, or you can unmute them, and then they can share. And what I'd like you to share is what meaning or what mood, what was your mood, what was your prayer, And how did this go? Did you find it was helpful, or did you find it was difficult? And if you found it difficult, in what ways? What were your challenges? And so there's no right or wrong answer to this. This is just a sharing for the sake of discussion. So I think Jagannath Kirtan, you're the host.
We have Dina Nakampu Mataji who's facilitating this part. Please, Mataji, if you can go through that.
Yes. Okay. All right.
So you can someone raise their hand either physically or otherwise, and then you can let them speak, and then we'll discuss. Okay.
Okay, Madhavi Gopi Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Can you highlight the speaker? Is that possible?
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Yeah, first of all, it was a wonderful session, and the way you explained on that guidelines when I tried to chant, I felt that I don't know about the past lives, but in this life, whatever Krishna has given me, from in what state I was, and from that there he has brought me till here, I have never expressed true gratitude to Krishna. Like many times we keep saying thank you and give gratitude to all the other persons around us, but Krishna, who has given so much to me, I have never truly from the heart expressed that gratitude. So that was very nice for me.
Thank you. Beautiful. And you can also express, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, you can also express remorse for not having expressed the gratitude, and also express remorse for having chanted without expressing that gratitude, without that feeling. And that will also empower you in chanting. It's like the opposite side of the same emotion. Thank you for that. That's beautiful. I'm very happy for you.
Next, Neelam Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my obeisances. When I was chanting right now, I felt very light, because what I experienced that as we have taken the vow that I'll be doing these rounds. So in the morning when we do, we have that pressure in our mind, that in my mind, that I have to complete these many rounds so that I can, in the morning. So that my regular routine will disturb to complete the rounds, maybe then in the afternoon. But right now, when I have already completed my vow of today, that I have to complete that much prescribed rounds, so I was feeling very light. But yes, the points which you discussed, that you can pray this way, you can pray that way, I just when I chant, I just I'm just able to connect with the Spirit and engage in His service. That is the thing which always strike me. And it's a very short period of a few seconds that I'm able to concentrate, and the next moment again the mind starts wavering. So that's a very difficult thing to control, and it's very disturbing also. I feel bad that why can't I control my mind for a longer period. So what is the way out? How can we help ourselves with this?
If you focus on connecting with the meaning, and then focus on experiencing the emotion of that meaning, the more you get into that, the more you will see that your mind will support. Because when emotion is strong, then the mind just supports that emotion. The mind will take a background. It will go behind. And usually, if you'll notice, when you get distracted when you're chanting, your emotional state lessens. So let's say you were like you were saying, you were feeling, Krishna, I want to serve you. I want to be engaged in your service. That's the predominant mood you have. you will notice that when you go into your mind, you lose that mood, because when thoughts take over, because the mind has three functions: thinking, feeling, and willing. So when thinking takes over, it predominates over feeling and willing. When feeling takes over, it predominates over thinking and willing. So whatever is going to predominate, that kind of subdues the others. So when you connect more emotionally and you're in the mood of praying, then that's when you're going to see your mind is just going to, it takes over the mind. And it, without even trying, all you have to do is focus on the emotion. And the other point that you made, which I think definitely needs to be addressed, that when you enter your japa session, I have this much time, I have to finish my rounds, then it's losing its depth, it's losing its connection, it's losing its meaning as a relationship. Just like if your husband says, you say, can we spend some time together? And he says, well, I have 15 minutes right now. How do you feel? You feel like he doesn't, he's giving, after 15 minutes, it's over, I have to do something else. We shouldn't take japa that way. So we should enter chanting our rounds just as a relationship, as a connection, and don't worry about the number and the time. And that is how relationships work. So try to apply these things, and I think they will help. And naturally, the mind is going to wander, because that's what it does. But one last thing I would like to suggest is that when you chant, do the best you can to put everything in your life on hold. Just say, okay, now I'm chanting. Now I'm giving my attention to Krishna. So when you respect someone, you give them your attention, isn't it? So Rabindranath Swarup used to say, give Krishna the courtesy of your attention when you're chanting. And it's a nice meditation to think about. Okay, now I'm chanting Hare Krishna, but am I giving Krishna the courtesy of my attention, or am I putting my attention somewhere else? And if I'm putting my attention somewhere else, that means I'm not giving Krishna the courtesy of my attention, which means I'm not really fully present to my japa, which means I'm not really fully chanting. So before you begin chanting, try to meditate on this. Now, during this time, I'm giving Krishna the courtesy of my attention, which means I'm taking my attention off other things, which basically means all the things in my life. I'm not going to give attention to those. And so that's a big problem when we're chanting. Our mind starts drifting with its attention onto things which in our life. And mind control doesn't mean just controlling your thoughts. It means controlling where you put attention, which thought you put attention on. So this is a huge challenge for all of us. And a lot of us, when we're chanting, we have our minds fully engaged in our lives. They're just going like they always go. Just, I have to do this, I have to do that, then I'm going to do this and that, and I have this idea, and I didn't finish this yesterday, and I have this anxiety that I'm worried about, and I have, how am I going to do this? And the mind is just going. And then we begin chanting, and we wonder why is our mind distracted while we're chanting? Because you're not stopping that to give your attention to Krishna. Just like if you say, Mahatma Prabhu, I want to talk to you, and I'm right in the middle of something, I'll say, okay, just give me a minute, let me finish. So I can put it all aside, and now I turn around and say, okay, now I can listen. So when you chant japa, you just have to put everything aside, just like you would put it aside to focus on a conversation, and then give your attention to Krishna. And you'll find it now less of a challenge with your mind wandering, because you've kind of put that aside. And when we don't put it aside, then the mind's just going to wander, because we're still engaged in our life while we're chanting. It's like we're in two lives. And so you can't chant and be in your life. You got to either be in your life and stop chanting, or chant and drop your life. And your life will be there later. When you finish your rounds, don't worry. Your life's still there. Your house will be there, your car, your husband, your wife, your family, your bank balance, it'll all be there. But when you're chanting, just drop it. Because if you don't, you'll be chanting Hare Krishna, it'll be going, hey, what about this? What about that? What about this? You forgot to do this. What about this? And you have to go, shut up, go away, I'll come back to you later. And if you don't, it's going to ruin your job. It's just going to take over. And Your rounds are just going to be absorbed in thinking. Even thinking about service. Even thinking about service. Just think about your relationship with Krishna. So try these things, and I think you're going to notice a big difference. Is that
Thank you
okay?
so much. Yeah,
You're
it's
welcome.
very helpful. I'll keep these things in mind.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Acharya Ratnapur.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Jai.
I'm
Hare
extremely
Krishna.
happy to be part of this Japa retreat. So amazing. So I was thinking this feelingly chanting is very difficult, but the way you
Yes.
explained the meaning, it was very nice. You were saying that we should just connect to our natural feeling, not
Yeah, exactly.
and that was a really very great experience. That just to feel. I was just thinking, when will I chant lovingly as service to O Krishna? I've been just doing it just to do it, but
Yes.
just when will that time come? I will chant lovingly. So just being moved in that, it was really amazing experience, and it was more easier than what I imagined.
Yes.
So,
That's such an important point. I'm glad you brought it up because in my journey of my own japa and my own teaching, one day this dawned on me that this meaning, Krishna, please engage me in your service. Please don't engage me in Maya's service. This is how we feel all the time because we're always confronted with Maya, and we're devotees and we want to become pure devotees. That's why we're here, and we don't want to give into our conditioning. And it dawned on me, and I said, wait a minute, we don't have to adjust. We don't have to bring in anything artificial. We just have to go along with naturally our experience daily. This is what I want and this is what I don't want, and bring that in the holy name. And you connected with that. And I'm so happy you connected with that. And I hope everybody is paying attention to this. This is just, you're just bringing in your natural feeling into the holy name. It's not artificial. It's not some great elevated thing that some acharya said, but this is our practical reality. We're suffering from separation from Krishna. Krishna, I'm suffering. I don't want to turn against you. I want to be for you. I want to be pure. That's how we feel all the time. And you bring that feeling into your japa, it's like it's so easy and natural. Like Acharya Ratna said, it's such a beautiful meaning because it's something we all relate to. So thank you, Acharya Ratna, for bringing that up again. Hare Krishna.
Ajay Gauranga Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandar Pranam. Prabhuji, it was a very nice experience. I was chanting in the mood that you are only my friend Krishna. I have so many material friends. They are with me for material reasons. As soon as their material interests are over, they leave me. You are only who will be with me forever. Whatever you have given me, please engage me in a service with in the condition which you have put me. Please engage me in that condition with you. Prabhuji, I was praying with this mood, but sometimes it happens that I am a grasta. I have some duties to fulfill. So yes. I have a business to carry on. So yes. I'm doing my 16 rounds very attentively and trying my best. But it happens just this Purushottam Mass is going on. We have to chant more. So I get less time to chant attentively properly. So yes. That time, what should I do, Prabhuji?
Well, there's no great credit in chanting bad rounds. So that I think we have to establish that, like sometimes we think, let's say you made more money, but it was all counterfeit money, no benefit. Someone paid you in counterfeit money. So one time a devotee wrote Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, I'm chanting 25 rounds. And I think Prabhupada knew that he wasn't chanting well. And Prabhupada said, first chant 16 good before you chant 25 bad. So, increasing the number of bad, it's like I'm doing, exercises all in the wrong way, but I'm doing more of them. So, what's the point, So a lot of times being in Grihastha life, there are a lot of limitations we have. that brahmacharis don't have, which is one of the reasons a lot of men don't get married, because they think, oh, if I get married, I'll have these limitations. But some of us do get married, and we have to accept the limitations of that ashram. And so sometimes within that ashram, we're busy in so many things. And we may not be able to peacefully focus chanting extra rounds. And if that's the case, then we have to accept that reality. But I'm definitely not one who's in favor of just chanting more bad rounds. And there's another reason I'm not in favor of it. And this is an interesting reason. Because I've realized that however you chant, it's creating a habit. So if you chant good rounds, you'll tend to, chant good rounds every day. If you don't chant good rounds, you'll tend to be bringing in those bad japa habits every day. So if I'm trying to chant extra rounds, but I'm not in a situation where I can chant them well, I'm starting to cultivate some bad habits. Like I'm just chanting and I'm distracted, or I'm talking to someone, or I'm not really expressing the mood of the holy name. And then I'm doing that consistently, it creates some samskar in the heart. And so it can affect my 16 rounds if I chant extra. So I chanted good 16 and bad, another 8 bad, or another 9 bad. But those 9 bad can have an influence on your good 16 because you're developing bad habits. So it's something to consider. I'm not saying for everybody that's true, but I think it's something to consider, because if I'm used to chanting and being distracted under the excuse, well, it's over 16 and this and that, I might start getting distracted with my 16 because it's become a habit. So be a little careful about developing habits like that.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for chanting nicely.
There's a question from Sadhna Mataji, and she wants to know, I try to think like paying gratitude to Krishna, when in this thinking, I may lose the words from the mantra.
Yeah.
So how can I come out of this dilemma?
Don't think, sadhana, feel. Because when you feel, then you'll connect with the holy name. But if you think, you're disconnected. Thinking actually disconnects you, but feeling connects you. So, as Prabhupada said, Hare, oh Radha, oh Krishna. So it's a prayer. So you don't think a prayer, you offer a prayer with feeling, right? Like you imagine you go to the deities to offer your prayers, right? It's a very emotional experience. You're offering your heart, Krishna, please, this and that. So that's how you should approach it. Just like you approach the deity of the holy name, not thinking the prayer. They're actually just thinking the prayer is maybe preliminary activity. Okay, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I understand. So I want to pray. But then it has to be brought into the heart and become a feeling. And the first Japa retreat that I went to, Ravinda Swarup was there, and he spoke a little bit, and he said something I really liked. He said, to chant Hare Krishna, you don't need your mind. And I thought, well, that's a relief. I can just, when I chant Japa, I can just put my mind in the dustbin for a while, and then I can pick it up later. Just take your mind, pull out the plug, turn it off, whatever, and then just chant. And so not only don't you need your mind, of course you need your transcendental mind, but you don't need your material mind. So I think that's important. Leave your material mind behind, and the spiritual mind is full of emotion for Krishna and full of thoughts of Krishna Lila. So that you can bring. And if you're not ready to be absorbed in Krishna Lila when you're chanting, at least bring your emotion, bring that part of your mind into it, and then you'll be okay. Is that all right?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes.
You can try that and see what happens.
Sure. She's listening, but she's a bit shy. So.
Oh, okay.
She's listening. Yes. Yes.
Padma Maliku next.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Jai.
Thank you so much for your wonderful one-round experience today on a practical level. But my question stays there. We do chant with this feeling. During our 16-round quota, we are sometimes conscious and live with this feeling that we have to be really connected and emotional.
Yes.
But then it's just sometime. It doesn't stay all the time. And that's
Yes.
where we get like, sometimes we chant consciously and then we are not conscious, and then we start thinking, I'm not conscious, I'm not conscious, I'm not conscious. Then we end up missing someone names, syllables of the mantra. Of course, the feeling is lost. So can you please help on maintaining it like every single time we chant? Something more practical.
There's two things that you can do. One thing that I have noticed in myself and others is that when we made an intention to improve our japa, we became aware when we were distracted as it was happening. When prior to that, we would be distracted for rounds until we realized that we were distracted. But when this intention to improve or the realization of how japa should be done became very clear, that I don't want to chant any rounds unless I'm really present to the holy name. Well, that was very clear. We would catch ourselves right away. Oh, I deviate, like on the third bead, we'd catch ourselves instead of the third round. So that's one thing. Well, I said there's three things. And the second thing, which is connected to the first thing, is what has helped a lot of devotees is just defining in your own heart that this is what chanting is, the way you described it, that emotional connection. That's chanting. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. And the other thing that I'm doing is just saying the name and being distracted. That's not what I'm supposed to be doing. That's not real japa. That's not the holy name proper. And so if that is very deeply embedded in your consciousness, you're going to find that your chanting is going to improve. You're going to be much more present because you're conscious that this is the way to do it. And just like take something material and you become aware of how to do it. Then you may have not done it properly before, but now because you're aware of this is how it should be done, you always refocus on the right way when you get distracted and do it the wrong way. The third thing that I would suggest is before you chant, try to create that mood. Before you start, like get in that mood that this I'm trying to connect, like we did today, something similar. And then as you're chanting, if you lose that mood, just remind yourself, this is the mood this is the connection I'm trying to make. And as you practice this, like I was saying earlier, practice creates habits. It creates samskars. So as you practice this, a little more difficult in the beginning, as you practice this, one day you're going to realize that this is just how you naturally chant because you've done this for so long. It becomes your normal way to chant. And this distraction is part of the normal way now. So now it's kind of like you have to fight not to be distracted. Whereas if you practice not being distracted, at some point, it's just you'll just be focused because that's the way you've practiced chanting. So this is a very important point because our daily japa is implanting japa samskars. It's like a blueprint. Wouldn't it be amazing if you came to a point where you couldn't chant bad japa? You just had programmed yourself, you habituated yourself by your effort over an extended period of time, months and months and months of working on your japa, that you develop these samskars that you couldn't actually chant in a distracted, heartless way. Wouldn't that be amazing? If you could do that?
Yes.
Well, that happens. If you practice, that will happen. And that's my encouragement to everyone. My ultimate goal is in my teaching of japa is to bring you to a point where it becomes impossible for you to chant bad japa. You can't do it. And someone says to you, how do you chant good japa? And you think, and you start thinking, and you say, I don't know how to chant bad japa. I can't answer your question. I forgot how to chant bad japa. That's the state we want to come to. What's bad japa? I don't know, Prabhu. I haven't chanted bad japa in so long. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to do it. When I just pick up my beads, I've developed these samskars, these ways of chanting, and that's just how I do it, right? And now think about it, right? Think about it. Could Indra lead a bad kirtan? Could Satsarup Maharaj write a bad book? Could Hridayananda Maharaj or Rabindra Swarup or Radhanath Swami give a bad lecture? They don't know how to do it. They can't do it. It's not possible because they've honed their skills, their samskars. This is how they do it. And so if you ask them, ask your Guru Maharaj how to give a bad lecture, they'll say, what? I don't know. I don't know how to do that, right? But it's the same thing. You ask your Guru Maharaj, how do you chant bad japas? I don't know. I don't know what that is. I haven't done that since I was a young devotee. So that's what you want to do. You want to work on it to the point where good japa is it's just what you do. Just like, your Guru Maharaj, he gives a good class every time. Or, Badahari, Ayendra, Kadabakana Swami, there's always give amazing kirtans. It's just what they do. Does that make sense? Is that good?
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you for your right instruction.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Param Karuna.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. That was an excellent experience. Yeah, Param Karuna Das, Prabhu. That was an excellent explanation. Definitely, we are enlightened on those points you have just now given. I was in the mood of, concentrating and begging Krishna to develop my taste, the taste of, doing japa, so that I can taste the nectar of being with Krishna's name, as Krishna itself is his name. Sometimes the feelings which we develop while doing japa are according to the mood which we have just now done, but sometimes it goes away, and I sometimes experience that I'm seeing Krishna doing his leela with Radharani and gopis, and there are different type of moods coming right there in the whole
Yes.
16 rounds.
Yes.
So I mean, how do this is fine, I should move on those lines, or one mood, 16 rounds, this should be the mood?
Yeah.
Yep.
If Krishna comes into your mind, don't kick him out. Prabhupada was asked this question, and is it okay to meditate on Krishna Leela? And one time Prabhupada said, when you chant, you should be thinking of Krishna Leela, and if you can't, then just listen. So it was like, okay, everybody says, listen, just listen. And Prabhupada's saying, well, that's if you can't meditate on the Leela, if you're not on that level. But he also said that it shouldn't be artificial, because sometimes devotees will kind of force themselves to think of the Leela, it's not natural. So they're trying, Hare Krishna, Govardhan Leela, Hare Krishna, I got to think of Govardhan Leela, Hare Krishna, and Krishna lifting Govardhan. No, the Prabhupada said, not like that. He said, if it's naturally coming, yes. If it's not naturally coming, then you hear it, or you chant as we're talking, you meditate this way. But I find that this emotional approach, connection with the meaning and connection with the Leela, they're very close, because there's all kinds of emotion and connecting with Krishna. And if those Leelas naturally manifest, which they will, especially if we're hearing them regularly, a lot of devotees say, he said, if I read Krishna book, it helps my japa because I'm thinking of those Leelas. So Guna Rupa Nama Leela. So Nama, it starts with Nama, and then as you progress in your meditation, you'll think of Krishna's qualities, Nama, Rupa, Guna, and then the Leela. So Prabhupada said it's natural that And the other thing that the Acharyas says, that within the Nam is the Guna, the Rupa, and the Leela. So it's already there. It's just we don't see it. It's not like it's like, oh, now the Rupa manifested, now the Leela, now the Guna. No, they're all there. It's just it's manifesting to us at different levels of purity. But when you say Krishna, that means not only Krishna, it means all the devotees. Prabhupada said once, all the devotees are there also. Krishna is always with devotees. So you're feeling separation from devotees. Prabhupada said, no, you're chanting, I'm chanting, we're all chanting, we're all together. But we may not realize all these things yet. But It's interesting. It's there. Krishna's Leela is there. And then the acharyas say, you say, well, sometimes you'll see a devotee crying when he's chanting. You say, why is he crying? He said, because he's seeing the Leela and Krishna's leaving, so he's crying. And then Krishna's coming back and he's happy and he's laughing. But then the acharyas say, but the next stage is not that you'll see the Leela, you'll be in the Leela. So you're chanting and now you're not watching the movie, you're in the movie. You're one of the actors. So that'll be nice japa. And then you wonder, how could Takaharidas chant 192 rounds a day? That's 22 hours. Well, if you're in Krishna Leela, you could do it also. You wouldn't want to stop, right? Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Thanks. That was an excellent explanation. Thank you.
Okay,
You're
so
welcome.
we just, Mahatma Prabhu, we just have over a minute left, and I'd rather take that minute to thank you properly.
You're welcome.
So I really want to thank you. It was thoroughly motivating and an absolute practical session. I know, I'm from Cape Town, so I know that you do japa sessions and you do japa workshops, and basically it was a no-brainer that we had to have you here today. And I recall one session when somebody had asked, why 5 days? Why 7 days? And you had said that we need the time to make a breakthrough in your japa.
Yes.
And what I want to say today is that, and I'm hoping I'm speaking on behalf of everybody, that we have hopefully, definitely made some breakthrough today, just in this 1 hour, 15 minutes. And I want to thank you on behalf of the Kirtan Ministry and on behalf of the World Holy Name Committee and in behalf of all the participants. I thank you for joining us, inspiring us, and I'm going to unashamedly beg for your blessings that we never ever think we have to chant japa ever again.
You don't have to chant. You don't have to. This is the last thing we want to say. You don't have to chant. It's the greatest gift we have. Never say I have to. Always say I love to. I get to.
I'd love to.
Thank
We
you.
all love. Thank you so much.
If you want to take this further on my website, mahatmadas.com, there's a lot about japa and other things
Absolutely.
that can help you if you're interested. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Nice to see all of you. Hari Bol. Gaura Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Gauranga. Now I'm on my phone and I'm usually on my computer, so I'm trying to figure out how I hit the leave.
Yeah, okay, let me get it ended.
I don't know how to end myself.
I think just leave the lecture and we'll end it. No problems.
Yeah. I don't know how to leave. Right now I'm looking at everybody. How many devotees? How many devotees came?
Nobody wants to leave.
Nobody
That's
wants
Yeah,
to leave.
it's like they just don't want to leave, but we have the next session starting with Indradyumna Maharaj.
So I have to leave, or you have to. I'll just turn my phone off.
From this point.
Hare Krishna. And now we have Holy Name in Bhagavatam with our special guest, His Holiness Indradyumna Swami. Indradyumna Swami is a direct disciple of Srila Prabhupada and an initiating guru in our ISKCON movement. He is our Kirtan gem, and he circles the globe, spreading the glories of the Bhagavad Gita and introducing people to the world of Kirtan. So now, without further ado, Let's welcome His Holiness Indradyumna Swami.
Hare Krishna, everyone. I'd like to begin by thanking the organizers of the World Holy Name Festival taking place between the 17th and the 23rd of September 2020 for this opportunity to participate by giving a discourse, a lecture on the glories of the holy names. I have chosen Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, first chapter, text number 11, to speak on by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tan Nirvidya Mananam, Ichatam Akuto Bhayam, Yoginam Nripanirnitam, Harir Nama Nukirtanam. Translation. O King, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord after the ways of the great authorities is the doubtless and fearless way of success for all, including those who are free from all material desires, those who are desirous of all material enjoyment, and also those who are self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. In the previous verse, the great necessity for attaining attachment to Mukunda has been accredited. There are different types of persons who desire to attain success in different varieties of pursuits. Generally, the persons are materialists who desire to enjoy the fullest extent of material gratification. Next to them are the transcendentalists who have attained perfect knowledge about the nature of material enjoyment, and they're thus aloof from such illusory way of life. More or less, they are satisfied in themselves by self-realization. Above them are the devotees of the Lord who neither aspire to enjoy the material world nor desire to get out of it. They are after the satisfaction of the Lord Sri Krishna. Oma Gyan Timirandasya Ganangana Shalakaya Chaksura Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadanti Sva Padantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrindam. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada Ki. So, in this verse, we hear some of the glories of the holy names of Krishna and the benefits that one can attain by chanting them. As we all know, the Lord has unlimited holy names. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in his Shikshashtakam, Nam Name Akare Bahudiha Nijasharva Shaktish, that the Lord has hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. It's interesting to note that although the Lord has unlimited names, we're instructed by our acharyas specifically to chant the name of Krishna. If all the names of God are absolute, why are we encouraged to chant Krishna in the form of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra? Well, there are a number of reasons. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has described that although all the names of Krishna are indeed absolute, meaning non-different from him, some names he describes as primary and some names he describes as secondary. Those are the terms he uses. Another way to say this is that some of the names of God are of utmost importance and some may be of lesser importance. Of course, not any name of God is less important, but let us say some have more power and more potency than others. Shastra says, for example, 1,000 names of Vishnu are equal to one name of Ram, and 3 names of Ram are equal to one name of Krishna. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes that the secondary names describe the greatness of God, like Mahavishnu, it's the name of God, the great Vishnu, or we say Paramatma, meaning the super soul. Or in other spiritual traditions, like in Islam, they say Allah, Allah Kabbalah Alhamdulillah. Allah means the great one. Or our Buddhist friends, they have the name Buddha means the enlightened one. So such names indicate the power, the majesty, the awesomeness of God, which is fine. But in our Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, we have names like Yashoda Nandana, Gopijana Bhalaba, Giravaradhari. These reveal the very sweet and confidential nature of the personality, the characteristics, and pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Now, the result of chanting such primary names of God is revealed in the Namashtaka. Agadhamana Yashoda Nandana O Nanda Shuno Kamala Nathayan Gopichandra Vrinda Vanendra Pranata Karuna Krishna It Yenaka Swarup Twayi Mai Ratir Uchayar Vardam Namadeya. The translation. O killer of the demon Aga, O son of Yashoda, O son of Nanda, O lotus-eyed one, O moon of the gopis, O Lord of Vrindavan, O merciful to the submissive, O Krishna, you have mercifully manifested in various forms. May my attachment for you be greatly increased. Now, chanting secondary names of God awaken appreciation for God, but chanting these primary names of God, they awaken a deep love for Him. This is the difference. We need to, of course, establish a relationship with God and appreciate Him. That is actually the first step in the science of self-realization. God is very great and we are His servant. But as one advances, one becomes very advanced, one's love for Krishna awakens. So our process is to chant these primary names, both to develop an appreciation for Krishna and to awaken our deep love for Him. And of all the primary names of God, the most potent of God is His original name. We were chanting so many different names, Gopichandra, Pranata Karuna, these are primary names. But of all the primary names of God, the most potent of God's primary names is His original name. His original name? Yes, He has an original name. A name He's known by in His hometown, the village of Vrindavan. Generally in Vrindavan they refer to God as Krishna. This is His original name. This is not just our opinion because we're Krishna Bhaktas. It's an actual Shastric injunction that Krishna is the original name of God. In his commentary on the Sri Vishnu Sahasra Nam Stotra, or the 1,000 names of Vishnu, Sri Baladev Vidyabhushana, one of our great acharyas, he says, and I quote, "Of all the names of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna is the most important, as the Lord Himself has confirmed. My dear Arjuna, Krishna is the most important of all my names." So beautiful. It's also considered the most important name of God because it comes from the most important planet in the spiritual world. There's unlimited planets in Vaikuntha, which is the spiritual world, meaning that place where there's no anxiety. But within that unlimited realm of spiritual planets, where the Lord resides in his different expansions, Nrsimha, Vamana, etc. The topmost planet is Goloka. Go can be taken to mean cows. Thus, Srila Jiva Goswami calls Goloka the planet of cows. There, the Lord of all creation is a cowherd boy, and his devotees enjoy very intimate, loving dealings with him. Elsewhere in the spiritual world in Vaikuntha, he's a king. But aside from a king's few wives and family members, his relationship, a king is, with everyone else, is fairly limited. So in Vaikuntha, the relationship with God, or Krishna, Narayan specifically, is one of great awe and veneration. Awe and veneration, which is very nice. Many Krishna devotees have that relationship with the Lord in Vaikuntha. Nrsimha Bhaktas, Bhaktas of Trivikaram, etc. But in Goloka, Krishna is not a king. He's a cowherd boy. And so his friends and associates, everyone can play with him. They can dance with him. They can eat with him. This is the special mood of Vrindavan. There's no Aishwarya Bhav. There's only the intimacy of love. So the name Krishna is the primary name of the Lord in his original. It's his original name. And by his causeless mercy, that name of God, Krishna, it descends as a veritable incarnation in the age of Kali. We know so many different incarnations of the Lord. Prabhupada said, one of his purports, the incarnations of the Lord are as innumerable as the waves of the ocean. And there's many oceans on this earth planet, and many beaches. Of course, there's waves at sea also. So many waves. You couldn't even imagine how many waves there are. Every day, every week, every month, every year, every kalpa, so many waves. So there is as many incarnations of the Lord in his various forms that appear in this material world, in this planet. But here's a special incarnation. The Lord comes in the form of his holy name. Golok Premdan Harinam Shankirtan. The Lord comes from the spiritual world in the form of his holy names. Or Kali Kali Nam Rup Krishna Avatar. Specifically in the age of Kali, the holy name descends as an incarnation. Now generally an incarnation of the Lord accomplishes three things. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita what incarnations do. Paritranaya sadhanam, vinashchaya shuduskritam, dharma samstapanartaya, sambhavami yuge yuge. From the lotus mouth of the Lord. To deliver the pious and annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium. So if one carefully observes the pastimes of the holy names in Kali Yuga, we'll see that Sri Nam Prabhu does in fact act as a bona fide incarnation. What's the criteria? To deliver the pious, to annihilate miscreants, and to re-establish principles of religion. All the incarnations do this in various ways. But to be called an incarnation, you have to be able to do this. So does the holy name do this? In order to be understood as an incarnation, yes. The holy name delivers the pious, the holy name delivers devotees. Where's the example? Just look in the mirror. Does the holy name annihilate the demons? Yes, in the sense that the holy name destroys the demoniac consciousness of demons or materialistically inclined persons and makes them at least favorable to the Krishna conscious movement. That's the power of the holy name. It destroys the demoniac mentality within the heart or within the mind. Does the holy name reestablish religion? Well, one definition Prabhupada said of religion is the foundation of religion, the four principles upon which religion stands or is founded. And those are cleanliness, truthfulness, mercy, and austerity. So when someone begins to come in contact with this incarnation, when it dances on the tip of their tongues, as Prabhupada said, one becomes purified and one becomes inclined to become clean, to become truthful, to become merciful, to become austere. Just like when one comes in contact with a potent medicine, the effects of the disease go away and a person becomes healthy. So by chanting Hare Krishna, our bad qualities go away. And the qualities of cleanliness, truthfulness, mercy, and austerity become part of a devotee's life. So yes, we can say the holy name acts as a veritable incarnation, delivers devotees. In other words, we were non-devotees before we became devotees. It destroys demoniac qualities, sinfulness. When those things come in contact with Krishna's holy name, just like there may be darkness, but when the sun rises in the morning, all darkness dissipates. So where the holy name becomes present, everything becomes auspicious in due course of time. And religion is reestablished by the worldwide chanting of the holy names. Actually, one time Prabhupada said, if it wasn't for the Hare Krishna movement, which is, let us say, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, which is one of the main arms of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement, if not the principal arm, we'll say. If it wasn't for this movement spreading the chanting of Hare Krishna all over the world, Prabhupada said the world would be in a much worse condition now. And one time he said if only 1% of the world was chanting Hare Krishna, the world would change. And change is required, especially now. Now if you read the newspaper or watch the news, you can see we're in a dire predicament. And we can probably take an educated guess it's going to get worse before it gets better. And if we look at the general age of Kali, it just degrades, becomes worse and worse and worse. But now we're fortunate, people of the world are fortunate. It's described we're in the 10,000 years of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement. That's a good chunk of time. We can make the world a better place. But if you want to make the world a better place, you got to make yourself a better person. And the best person amongst all are the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They're beyond ignorance, passion, and even mundane goodness. They live in Suddha Sattva because they're always chanting. Prabhupada said, if you've got time, chant Hare Krishna. We take every opportunity because we know life is short and then you die. So we don't waste time with frivolous activities. We don't let ourselves become distracted by things that are not favorable to Krishna consciousness. We do that by keeping in the association of other devotees. By that association, many hands make small work. We work together to spread the holy names of the Lord. We don't have time for other things, material things. In the Bhagavatam, Shukadev Goswami instructs Maharaj Parikshit that materialistic people have so many subject matters for speaking about. We don't concern ourselves with those things. We read Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Nectar of Devotion, Krishna book. We have so many activities to keep engaged, but it all ultimately centers around the chanting of the holy names. They're the be-all and end-all of our existence. People are considering so many complex and radical means for saving the world, from war, from environmental destruction, from disease, from greed, abuse, misgovernment. But really, the key to solving all these problems lies in chanting the holy names. Because chanting purifies everything. One's heart, human society, the whole atmosphere is purified by chanting. One time Prabhupada personally had to go to court for some, for whatever reason, he had to go to the court, personally appear in the court. So he came with his disciples, probably some land management or some issue. And when Prabhupada stepped into the courtroom, he looked around, he said, the whole atmosphere here is polluted. And he said under his breath, he said, because the lawyers are telling so many lies, so many bribes. So he told the devotees to have kirtan in the courtroom. So having full faith in Srila Prabhupada, they had a kirtan, a robust kirtan. Eventually they were told to stop, but after the kirtan was over, Prabhupada said, now everything is auspicious. So the whole world can benefit from this original name of God. How does it solve all the problems of the world? Well, we could go into detail how it solves each particular problem. Like Prabhupada said one time to the chief of police or the mayor of Chicago that by chanting Hare Krishna, all the crime will be stopped. How's that? Because people's material desires are subdued by chanting Hare Krishna. We take according to our need, not according to our greed. So there's one example. But ultimately, the chanting of Hare Krishna solves all the problems of life. Why? Because we go back home, back to Godhead. And there's no problems there. This is Kuntha. This world's Kuntha. That means this is a place of great anxiety. But the spiritual world is Vaikuntha. It means a place where there's no anxiety. So the solution to all problems is to go back home, back to Godhead. So the whole world benefits. The speaker and those who are hearing, they become glorified by the chanting or the discussion of the glories of the holy names. So the original name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this chanting, it means more than just japa or japa retreats or kirtan melas, worldwide kirtan melas we're having now. These are important. These are for devotees to build up our spiritual strength. And that's fine, but really the purpose of these holy names is to flood the world with prema. Krishna Vardam Twisha Krishnam Shangopanga Shaparshadam Yagnai Sankirtan Prayar Yashantihi Shumeda Shaha. We can understand it from a description of Srila Jiva Goswami. He's describing the nature of holy places. He said the holy place of Dwarka is perfect, but the holy place of Mathura is more perfect. But Shri Vrindavan Dham, Brajabhumi Shri Vrindavan Dham, it's most perfect. So chanting our japa is perfect. Prabhupada said it's the most important instruction of the spiritual master, to chant 16 rounds a day. We can't do anything. We can't do any service without the mercy of the holy name. We become purified. Our love for Krishna is awoken. So that's perfect. But you could say a little more perfect is when we come together with our God brothers and God sisters, the general congregation of devotees, and we chant very loudly. The potencies increase because so many devotees are chanting. But Srinam gives his, because the holy name's a person. We say Srinam Prabhu. It means the holy name's a person. Krishna is present in the sound of his name. Nama Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. There's no difference between the name of Krishna and Krishna himself. They're identical. So Srinam Prabhu, the holy name, is most pleased when we take him out on the streets and we chant. We do that in the form of Brihat Mridanga. The glories of the holy name are described unlimitedly through the holy scriptures, through Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavad Gita. So we can distribute the glories of the holy name through Brihat Mridanga, through book distribution. Recently there was a Bhadra Purnima marathon. The goal was 10,000 sets of Srimad Bhagavatam. The worldwide group of devotees distributed 25,000 sets of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is Brihat Mridanga. But my point is that we are meant to bring the holy names to others. This is our duty as followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Technically, we're Gaura Bhaktas. Because without the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, we can't understand who is Radha and Krishna. One time Prabhupada said that to get the mercy of Radha and Krishna, we need the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And to get the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we need the mercy of Lord Nityananda. And to get the mercy of Lord Nityananda, we have to go out and preach to Jagai and Madhai. This is a missionary movement. We want to become strong by our japa. We don't want to miss. We always want to be increasing. We want to have rousing kirtans in the temple room, in our communities. These, especially now, these times, these kirtan melas are so important because of the nature of this pandemic. We can't, at this time, go on the streets. But it appears we can give those books out. Vaisheshika Prabhu and other leaders of this worldwide Sankirtan movement, they're getting the books distributed as well. But we have to understand that we don't want ISKCON to become a society in which we're just staying in the temples, ringing the bells, so to speak, chanting Hare Krishna ourselves. No. The nature of a Vaishnava, he's different than all classes of transcendentalists. Other transcendentalists, with all due respect, they're special souls because they understand the temporary, miserable nature of this world, and they want to transcend. But Vaishnavas are special because they don't want to transcend without taking as many fallen souls back home, back to Godhead with them. This is the crest jewel of a Vaishnava's good qualities. That his happiness, his sadness is to see people bereft of Krishna consciousness, and his or her sadness is to see people bereft. So where does all happiness lie? It lies in our eternal relationship with Krishna, with Radha and Krishna, and their associates. And that can be easily awoken in Kali Yuga by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So let us say that the real purpose of the holy names is to flood the world with prema, and this will solve the ills of society. This is called panacea. Panacea means a medicine or a solution, something that solves all the problems. So we have to go out and save the world by kirtan. Of course, don't just go out now and start chanting. We have to keep our social distance and wear our masks and so on. But hold on for a while to do that, but understand the opportunity will surely come again. And because we're missing it so much, getting out there with our Sankirtan parties and doing our festivals and, associating, giving the holy name as best we can, it'll mean so much more to us when we can do it again. So this World Holy Name Festival is so important because it's enriching us with the holy name, it's purifying us. And when those floodgates open again and they allow us to go on, we're going to spread those holy names like never before. And that will be our then we'll get the real taste of chanting Hare Krishna. Until then, we can think of novel ways to spread the holy names. Brihat Mridanga. Continue with that as well. So when we do bhajan or kirtan, it means Krishna kirtan, especially Krishna kirtan. We sing so many bhajans, so many names of God, but mainly we should chant Hare Krishna. In Krishna Sandarbha by Srila Jiva Goswami, he writes, and I quote, Krishna is the original name of the Lord, and all other names are simply his parts and parcels. of that original name of Krishna. The original name of Krishna is more powerful than the other names, and the result of chanting the name of Krishna is greater than that of chanting the other names of the Lord. I'm going to say that again. This is Jiva Goswami. Krishna is the original name of the Lord, and all the other names are simply his part and parcels of that original name of Krishna. The original name Krishna is more powerful than the other names, and the result of chanting the name of Krishna is greater than that of chanting the other names of Krishna. So in order to advance properly in Krishna consciousness, we must be conscious of the limited good fortune we have inherited through chanting these names of Krishna. All sinful reactions are destroyed in the heart. Material desires are destroyed, and love of Krishna is awoken. These are the results of chanting. What can compare to that? We have to think about that, be conscious of that. So we're always eager to chant. Sometimes we have to step back and analyze what we have. If not, we may make the mistake of taking our good fortune just for granted. All too often I see devotees lamenting about what they don't have. No, it's better to step back and think about what we do have. We may be missing this, we may be missing that in our lives. Some necessities, some comforts, whatever. But what is our real treasure? The chanting of the holy names, because all auspiciousness will come from that. So Rupa Goswami says in his Padyavali, O Lord, just as a miser continually collects, counts, and remembers his money, in the same way, let us continually collect, count, and remember your holy names. This is our real wealth. We shouldn't get discouraged. It's a little difficult now, of course. Economy's going down, and let's see what happens. It's easy to get discouraged. But no matter how bad it gets, no matter what life throws at you, you can remain inspired by considering your list of good fortune. And what can we consider our list of good fortune? Raghunath Das Goswami has written his list of good fortune, which should be our list of good fortune, in Manashiksha. In Manashiksha, he prays. And there's the list. O mind, I grasp your feet and beg you with sweet words. Please throw away all your pride and develop intense, extraordinary love for my spiritual master, for Braja Bhumi, for the people of Braja, the Vaishnavas, the Brahmins, the Gayatri Mantra, the holy names, and the transcendental shelter, which is the youthful couple of Braj. These things we have, Prabhu, these things can never be taken away from us. So take the time once in a while to remember this. Especially this holy names. It's for this reason that Bhaktivinoda Thakur suggests the following, quote, in his Harinam Chintamani. The devotee should make it a regular practice to spend a little time alone in a quiet place and concentrate deeply on the holy names. He should utter and hear the name distinctly. It is impossible for the jiva to single-handedly avoid and overcome the illusion of distraction. By the mercy of the Lord, however, this is accomplished with ease. So, devotees should make it a regular practice to spend a little time alone in a quiet place and concentrate deeply on the holy name. We have that opportunity now, lockdown. All the lockdowns are finished. I think the lockdowns are going to come back until we can rid the world of this virus which is going around everywhere, this COVID. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was one such person who greatly appreciated the holy names. In chapter 1 of Harinam Chintamani, he writes, "Dear Lord, my only hope lies in the limitless nectar of your holy name." My dear Lord, my only hope lies in the limitless nectar of your holy name. And what type of chanting is he recommending? He recommends constant chanting. Not just 16 rounds and finished until tomorrow, 24 hours away. No, whenever we can. Like Prabhupada said, if you've got time, chant Hare Krishna. Or as Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati, he says in his Vrindavan Mahimamrita, "O sadhu, if you cannot suddenly renounce this dreamlike world, then day and night meditate on Vrindavan. Worship Vrindavan's king and queen, and always chant their holy names." So arrange things in such a way that your whole existence revolves around the chanting of the holy names. For us Gaudiya Vaishnavas, members of ISKCON, Prabhupada followers, that means chant them, and somehow according to your particular situation, time, place, and circumstance, brahmachari, grihastra, vanaprastha, sannyasi, somehow we must all find time to contribute to the Sankirtan movement. Sam means complete. Kirtan means chanting. So the complete chanting of the holy names. Somehow or other we have to contribute to that. Either by doing it or financing it or encouraging the devotees to do it. This should be the heartbeat of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. This was very much the heartbeat when Prabhupada was here. All of us were engaged in chanting and distributing the chanting. Now our movements become very big. We have a big congregation, and I'm sure that pleases Prabhupada very much. But we must all work together. Again, many hands make small work to fulfill Prabhupada's desire, or Mahaprabhu's desire, that this chanting goes to every town and village of the world. This is we're Vaishnavas. And this is the advice of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur as well. In his purports to the Sri Chaitanya Shikshamrita, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he writes, "In the teachings of Sriman Mahaprabhu, there are only two principal instructions. Develop a taste for chanting the holy names and display compassion for the fallen souls." Eke Guru Nandana, we have to keep this instruction in focus. So we're blessed to chant the original name of God, Krishna, and we're blessed to distribute that original name of Krishna. With that formula, we can not only save ourselves, but the whole world. As Prabhupada predicted one time in London, he told Guru Das, my godmother, one day, this Hare Krishna movement will save the world in its darkest hour. How will we save it? By going out and chanting. So for now, let us gain our strength, purify our hearts, develop Namruchiya taste through such events as the World Holy Name Festival, but know that our future lies in going out and spreading this chanting. Not only do all human beings, but all creatures in this world, they also get benefited. So this holy name is our be-all and our end-all of existence. And I'll close today with another quote from the Harinam Chintamani by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Very, very, one of my most precious verses about the holy name. The holy name is the purest form of knowledge. It is the best of all vratas or vows, and the highest meditation. It gives the most auspicious fruits. It is the greatest renunciation. It is a matchless spiritual activity. It is the most pious of all holy works. It is the supreme path of self-realization. It offers the greatest liberation and goal. It is the topmost destination. It is the best devotional service, the most purifying agent. It gives love of Godhead and is the essence of remembrance to the Lord. It is the cause of all causes, the supreme absolute truth. It is the most worshipable object and acts as the supreme spiritual master. All glories to the holy names of Sri Krishna. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. All glories to this wonderful World Holy Name Festival from September 17th to 23. Thank you very much for the organizers of this wonderful event. Here from Sri Vrindavan Dham, I offer my respects to all the wonderful Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis participating in this event. Shri Shri Gauranitai ki, Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki, Shri Shri Radha Shama Sundar ki, Vrindavaneshwari Shrimati Radharani ki, Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda Prabhu, Panchatattva ki, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki, Shri Prabhupada ki, back home, back to Godhead ki. Take all the fallen conditioned souls with us. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Hare Krishna.